Hey KentCov kids, I'm Mr. Kevin, and I'm here to share this week's message about another parable. Parables are simple stories used to explain and teach. And this one is in the book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 33. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed into about 60 pounds of flour until it worked all through the dough." Wait, what? Okay, so the kingdom of heaven is like yeast? Let's think about this. Do you know what yeast is? Okay, well, it's this really tiny thing. Well, here, check this out. Wait, you can't see it? Okay, enhance. You can't even see this little organism with your own eyes. You have to use a microscope like a scientist. See, this tiny little thing does something pretty amazing. When yeast is mixed with water and flour, it starts to eat some of the flour. And when it eats the flour, it puffs out a little bit of air. And that air makes the dough ball get really big. In Jesus' time, they didn't have microscopes to see yeast like we can today. But they did know that yeast makes your dough bigger, which then makes the bread so fluffy and good. But you don't make bread just by putting yeast into water and flour, though. You have to roll it and knead it. That's knead with a K, okay? Look it up. And then with your work and the yeast's work, you get amazing bread like this when it comes out of the oven. Wow, look at all those bubbles. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast because you can't see it with your eyes, but you can see it working when it's there. When it's there, when you work with it and help it, it can grow. When you love others like Jesus asks us to, you share the kingdom with them. A really neat thing that they did in Jesus' time was share a bit of dough from one batch of bread to the next. So the yeast from the first batch would get to work on the second. That's called using a starter dough because it can help get a whole other loaf of bread started. You know, my parents shared their faith with me when I was your age, like sharing a bit of dough to make bread. And that faith they shared grew in me until I was ready to make it into my own and to knead that dough and let it rise so it could produce something wonderful. And you know what? My faith is still growing. And that's how God's kingdom works, always growing bigger in us and in others that we share it with. Something to think about, huh? Well, actually a lot to think about. But that's why parables are great. They help you think and learn in ways that turn on different areas of your brain and help you imagine and remember the message. Okay, kids, that's all for now. Come back next week for a really amazing message from another friend you know, Miss Kelly. Yeah, that amazing person. Okay? All right. Bye.